Welcome back to Bonkers Tales of Grimm. Today's tale is called Jorinda and Joringel. Jorinda and Joringel. There once was an old castle in the midst of a large and thick forest, and in it an old woman who was a witch dwelt all alone. In the daytime, she changed herself into a cat or a screech owl, but in the evening, she took her proper shape again as a human being. So the word for this is anthrocentric, which is focusing just on a human perspective. Like, how are we supposed to know that a cat or a screech owl isn't her normal shape? Anthrocentric. If you find anybody talking about people too much, that's what you can call them. She could lure wild beasts and birds to her, and then she killed and boiled and roasted them. If anyone came within 100 paces of the castle, he was obliged to stand still, and could not stir from the place until she bade him be free. But whenever an innocent maiden came within this circle, she changed her into a bird, and shut her up in a wickerwork cage, and carried the cage into a room in the castle. She had about 7,000 cages of rare birds in the castle. 7,000... We could do a little bit of math here and figure out just what population is required to support 7,000 innocent maidens. But let's just say it is a lot of people. Someone should notice. Now, there was a maiden who was called Jorinda, fairer than all other girls. That means she didn't get out in the sun very much. She and a handsome youth named Joringel had promised to marry each other. They were still in the days of betrothal, and their greatest happiness was being together. That means they're in love. One day, in order that they might be able to talk together in a quiet, they went for a walk in the forest. "Take care," said Joringel, "that you do not go too near the castle." But he's with her. It was a beautiful evening. The sun shone brightly between the trunks of the trees into the dark green of the forest, and the turtle doves sang mournfully upon the young boughs of the birch trees. Jorinda wept now and then. She sat down in the sunshine and was sorrowful. Joringel was sorrowful too. They were as sad as if they were about to die. Why? I don't know why they're sad. We haven't learned. They're happy. But, alright, anyway. They were sad as if they were about to die. I really hope they aren't, but judging by the pattern of previous stories, my hopes are not high. Then they looked around them, and were quite at a loss, for they did not know which way they should go home. The sun was still half above the mountain, and half set. So, sun right up on the horizon. Joringel looked through the bushes, and saw the old walls of the castle close at hand. He was horror-stricken, and filled with deadly fear. Jorinda was singing. These are some very, very mood-swingy people. They are sad, and now they are singing, and before that they were madly in love. But this is what Jorinda is singing. "My little bird with the necklace red sings sorrow, sorrow, sorrow. He sings that the dove must soon be dead. Sings sorrow, sorrow, jug, jug, jug." Aha! Joringel looked for Jorinda. She was changed into a nightingale and sang, "Jug, jug, jug." She's a very cool nightingale. A screech owl with glowing eyes flew 3 times round her, and 3 times cried, "Too-hoo! Too-hoo! Too-hoo!" Joringel could not move. He stood there like a stone, and could neither weep nor speak, nor move hand or foot. The sun had now set. The owl flew into the thicket, and directly afterwards they came out of it, a crooked old woman, yellow and lean, with large red eyes and a hooked nose, the point of which reached to her chin. That must be so uncomfortable for her to eat. Except that she boils and roasts wild animals, so we shouldn't feel sympathy. She muttered to herself, caught the nightingale, and took it away in her hand. Joringel could neither speak nor move from the spot. The nightingale was gone. At last the woman came back and said in a hollow voice, "Greet thee, Zachiel. If the moon shines on the cage, Zachiel, let him loose at once. Who is Zachiel? Then Joringel was freed. He fell on his knees before the woman and begged that he should give him back his Jorinda. But she said that he should never have her again, and went away. He called, he wept, he lamented, but all in vain. Ah, what is to become of me? Joringel went away, and at last came to a strange village. There he kept sheep for a long time. All of these, we're going to pause here and talk about how much time passes in these stories for reasons I don't seem to understand. They're just like, and then years and years and years passed. For no reason. They could have sorted this out sooner. People are lazy in Grimm's times. I think they didn't have anything to do. I think they just had to go and be bored. Anyway, so he goes off to a random village and is just like, I'm going to keep some sheep forever while the love of my life is a bird. Don't do that. If you like someone a lot and they turn into a bird, do not go off and farm sheep. Get them unbirded right there. He often walked round and round the castle, but not too near to it. At last he dreamt one night that he found a blood-red flower, in the middle of which was a beautiful large pearl, that he picked the flower and went with it to the castle, and that everything he touched with the flower was freed from enchantment. He also dreamt that by means of it he recovered his Jorinda. I bet he had a lot of dreams like that. I bet he dreamt every night about how, some magic would help him save Jorinda. This is a silly story. In the morning, when he awoke, he began to seek over hill and dale if he could find such a flower. How does he know the dream is gonna... Dreams don't always have answers, boys and girls, and anybody in between. Dreams are not always... If you have a dream about how to solve a problem, research it first. Oh my gosh. He sought until the 9th day from when? And then, early in the morning, he found the blood-red flower. In the middle of it, there was a large dewdrop, as big as the finest pearl. Okay, it worked this time. Day and night he journeyed with this flower to the castle. When he was within 100 paces of it, he was not held fast, but walked on to the door, so the magic doesn't work on him. Joringel was full of joy. He touched the door with the flower, and it sprang open. He walked in through the courtyard and listened for the sound of the birds. At last, he heard it. He went on and found the room from whence it came, and there the witch was feeding the birds in the 7,000 cages. When she saw Joringel, she was angry, very angry, and scolded and spat poison and gall at him. There are dinosaurs that can do that. But she could not come within 2 paces of him. He did not take any notice of her, but went and looked at the cages with the birds. But there were many hundred nightingales. How is he to find his Jorinda again? I think I know what he would have done. Just then he saw the old woman quietly take away a cage with a bird in it and go towards the door. Swiftly he sprang towards her, touched the cage with the flower, and also the old woman. She could no longer bewitch anyone, and Jorinda was standing there, clasping him round the neck, and she was as beautiful as ever! The story ended with an exclamation mark, so I had to do that. I really, really hope Joringel frees the rest of the 7,000 birds. Unless the ones who just want to be birds, because sometimes being a bird is better than being a person, but not as often as you might think. I would say that the takeaway from this story, the moral we need to draw from this, is that if you want to get married to the person that you love, try to do that first, and don't go sneak into the woods and be sad about it, because bad stuff can start happening if you do that. We will see you next time. If you want to submit a story to Bonkers Tales of Grimm, address it to the email address down here in the description, walrusstageproductions@gmail.com, and we will hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye.